Whether we like it or not, the Denver Nuggets have had a ginormous fall from grace in the past 2 years. From winning a championship at 23 to losing in the second round last year to the Timberwolves to barely having a roster to compete with this year. Today on Contenders or Pretenders, we're going to be discussing all the Nuggets' problems and if they even have any solutions to compete for the championship this year. So first off, like I said, their depth it's rough. Like, they lost KCP, and that was a ginormous problem, because now look what they have to do. And I like Christian Brown, but having him as your starting two guard in the West doesn't seem like a great option, and is definitely 100% a step down from KCP. Anytime you lose a guy who is in your starting lineup during your championship run, that's going to be a pretty big loss. And it just blows my mind that they let him go when they had the money to match the Magic. We'll get into the Magic later. I don't even think that was a big pickup for them anyways. But then they get Russell Westbrook. Okay, cool. That's awesome. Everyone's hyped. All these graphics of Brody's in Denver. And it's like, okay, cool. But as a Clippers fan, he was okay. We'll get into that in a sec. But their depth right here, Jamal Murray. We'll get into him later. We got a lot of stuff talking about the Nuggets. Jamal Murray is good. Christian Brown in the two guard, like I said, not very good. Not what I'm expecting. I don't have a lot of expectations for that guy at the two. At the three, MPJ, Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic are all good at the 3, 4, and 5. I mean, those guys are solid. Nikola Jokic is obviously the best player in the league by a long shot. But then you look at the bench, and it's like they got Russ, and that's cool. But Julian Strawther, who hasn't really proved himself yet. Hunter Tyson hasn't really proved himself yet. Peyton Watson, who's probably my favorite young player on the Nuggets. But you're slotting him at the power forward? I thought he was more of like a 3 who can handle the ball, so you're going to put him at the 4. That shows weakness. Then you got Dario Saric to the 5, and that's not looking super great either. Then, I mean, look at I love looking at the depth chart because they put this in. The Peyton Watson's the 5, Julian Strawther's the backup 3, then you got DeAndre Jordan. One of the other biggest losses that the Nuggets have dealt with is Deron Holmes, who actually was my friend growing up in high school. He actually played on my volleyball team. I made a whole video about him. Go check it out. I talk about it all there. But he got drafted by the Nuggets. But then he also tore his Achilles in the summer league. So he is done for the entire year. And he would have been way over Dario Saric right here. He would have been easily backup 5, play 4, stretch the 4 a little bit, block shots. And he could have played on the court with Jokic, and they could have had a double big thing because that's how Deron plays. But that was a major loss for them. So this year, especially, not really talking about going forward, but generally this year, they are not going to be winning a championship. Now, it's a Contenders or Pretenders series. They will be contending. I'm just going to throw that up right now. They are contenders. The Denver Nuggets are going to be contending. I don't think they have a shot at winning. So like I said, Russell Westbrook, I mean, he was a great player on the Clippers. I mean, you always like a guy who can be high energy and stuff. But last season, I mean, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and the lowest amount of minutes he's played in his career. He also played 68 games, which is pretty good. But I mean, I liked his energy, and he was a good bench guy. But in terms of stuff where you get on the court and everyone knows it's about Russ, especially if you're a Lakers fan, or if you like a Rockets fan, or even a Thunder fan, you were like, "Ooh, Russ, don't shoot, pass the ball, pass the ball." That happened to me constantly over the past 2 years with Russ being on our team. Love the guy, but it just is like that's going to be your spark off the bench for the Nuggets. Like, that's it. So what happens if Jamal Murray isn't playing good, which like he hasn't been playing? Well, we'll get to that next, but it just didn't seem like that good of a pickup. On top of the fact that you lose Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. So there's just a lot of mystery, and you can't have mystery if you're going to be really, really contending for a championship. I mean, teams like Boston Celtics and the Thunder, the leading 2 teams to win the championship this year, don't have a lot of mystery. It's pretty clear cut what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. Nuggets have a lot of what ifs. Trust me, as a Clippers fan, I know about what ifs. I've never said we're going to really contend. I mean, obviously I'm going to say that because I'm a Clippers fan. But it's just, I don't believe in them this year at all. They don't have that oomph, especially with the way they went out last year. Now, do not get that twisted. Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray are on the same, they're on the upwards. Let's go to seasons right here. Yeah. Okay. So Jamal Murray, they were both kind of over here. Jokic is blue, Jamal Murray's red. If you're not familiar with the system, this is Darko, and this is based off of DPM, so daily plus minus. They have like this whole computer generated thing, whatever, and it goes off box plus minuses. So this is their entire career so far, Jokic and Murray. They're both on the up. They finished this last season on the up. Now, this doesn't track playoffs. I think it just tracks regular season. But like Jokic, obviously, best player in the world. I mean, let's look at LeBron. Peak LeBron James is in the green. Jokic is around the same level as peak LeBron. And that's saying a lot. I mean, Jokic is a very talented player. I just don't think he has the pieces around him to get to that point. I mean, look at Luka last year. Luka had some guys around him last year. I'm not saying Luka and Jokic are on the same level, even though they're pretty close. I guess not, because Jokic has one championship and 3 MVPs, and Luka doesn't have either of those. But the thing is that Luka has options to play with, and he made it to the finals. So I think that even if the Mavs matched up with the Nuggets last year in the playoffs, they would have beat the Nuggets still. They just haven't been looking tip-top shape. And then let's look at Jamal Murray from last season. Last playoffs. So here we go. He averaged 21, 26, 26 when they won the championship. And then last year he averaged 20. And all of his numbers, you can take a look. I'm just going to hold it here for a sec. Take a look. All of his numbers have dropped off a cliff. Like, I mean, going from almost 40% from 3 on almost 8 attempts to dropping to, like, 30, just barely over 30%. Like, field goal percentage dropped, 2-point percentage dropped. Free throws, as I'm saying, that's pretty consistent. But I mean, you don't need to, you need that umph. And so I'm going to be interested to see if he can actually make that happen this year. So the next thing that we got to talk about is who are they competing against? And I think pretty obviously it's OKC, Dallas, and Minnesota. And there might be, we'll see what the Suns do. They're kind of like my sleeper pick. The Suns are, I mean, they got Tyus Jones. They might figure it out and maybe compete and be like a really deadly team because they're just so offensively gifted. But the main guys we got to talk about are OKC. So let's look at OKC real quick. Let me throw it over here. I mean, look at this. This blows Denver's lineup out of the water. I mean, Shea at the point. You got Alex Caruso, which was a steal at the 2. JW the 3, and then I don't know if they're gonna really run Chet and Ihart at the 4 and 5. We'll see if they start him like that. And then backup, Kaysen Wallace, baller, Isaiah Joe, freaking sniper. Then you put Lou Dort to come off the bench. Then you got J-Dub who can come in, and maybe they'll. I mean, Jalen Williams, Jay Will, and Kenrich Williams have actually been pretty good off the bench, and we're in the playoffs. Aaron Wiggins is also a guy who can absolutely disrupt some guys on defense. He's a great shot creator. And then you got, I mean, Chet off the 5. So you can run easily 9 guys. Maybe you could dip into 10 or 11 with Kenrich and Jalen Williams. And then you got other guys like that who are just good, and they can bolster your lineup. Not to mention that the defense on this team is like, I love it. It's awesome. And even with the Timberwolves, they made good moves for the future. They went to the Western Conference Finals last year, but then they traded up to get a top 10 pick in Rob Dillingham. I mean, he's going to replace Mike Conley, and if that all goes well, the Timberwolves will be here for another 5 to 10 years. Like, as long as Ant and all those guys stay there, this defense is still a really good team. And I'm just recognizing right now that the Timberwolves picked up Joe Ingles. That's not a big deal, but dude, as a Clippers fan, once again, I hate Joe Ingles just because he hurt Kawhi, all this stuff. He's a good player though, but Mike Conley, Ant, Jay McDaniels, Cat, and Rudy Gobert is one of the best starting fives in the NBA. Then the bench. Nikhil Alexander-Walker was a good backup point guard, but they got Rob Dillingham, shot creator, young guy, really shifty, plays good basketball. Joe Ingles and obviously Naz Reid, baby. Naz Reid come off the bench. That's another solid 9 to 10 potential guys who can really come in and just mess stuff up. And the Nuggets can't compete with that, I don't think. Now, the odds of them not facing either one of these teams is very, very low. And even then, I'm pretty sure they'd have to play the Mavericks if the math comes together and fills out. I don't think they're going to be able to beat any of those teams without Jamal Murray playing like bubble Jamal Murray and then Jokic playing out of his mind. Like, outside of that, I don't think they have a chance at all. Not to mention that they have to face the Celtics probably in the finals, and that's not going to go well either because the Celtics are more deep, more talented, and they're coming back for a second title go back-to-back. I actually already covered the Boston Celtics. I'm going in alphabetical order with like Boston and then Cleveland, and now we're in Denver. So I already covered Boston. Go check that video out. It should be right somewhere. It should be like right above my head, I think. I don't know. Then there are other sleeper picks that you just don't want to play in the first round. Who knows what's going to happen with San Antonio? Memphis is still a problem. Like I said, Phoenix. The Clippers, I have a lot of faith in the Clippers this season that we are super deep despite losing Paul George. So who knows how that's going to turn out. I think that the Nuggets are in a really interesting position, and it's not a very good one because they have just not made good roster moves to get them to build towards the future. And Jokic is turning 30, I believe, next year, and it's just not going well. You just lose guys, and then you have stuff like Deron Holmes gets hurt. Your first-round draft pick gets hurt when he was supposed to come in and make a major change. Then you get Russell Westbrook, who's aging, can't shoot, has a little bit of some problems, and it just doesn't look like it's gonna work out. So I'm putting them as contenders because their sights are on the championship, and they can do it better than half the league, I'd say, to get to the playoffs and actually maybe win a first-round matchup. But outside of that, I don't think the Nuggets can actually win a championship. They just have a lot of problems. Anyways, that's all I got. I'm getting these out as soon as I can with a ton of teams. I'm getting every single team out before the season starts October 22nd. So we got a month and like a week before that happens. So I'm trying to get the rest of the teams out. All of your favorite teams are going to be mentioned. I'm going to try and talk about them. I'm doing a lot of stuff. I'm trying to do a lot more stuff on my members side of members only content. So check that out. It's like the little join button next to the subscribe button. It's like $2 a month. I'm trying to make it as cheap as possible for you guys just to support me. And this is what I want to do. So if you want to see me more often, if you want to help me out, that'd be super cool. But outside of that, I'm just trying to grind this out. I'm having a really fun time. Comment, let me know what you guys think, who your favorite team is, what you guys thought about my thoughts here. I brought up a bunch of different points and stuff, and that's just how I feel. So let me know if you agree or not. Other than that, we out.